Okay, everyone. It looks like we're live here today. Um, just a little bit of housekeeping while we get going and while people start joining. One of the first things I need to do is make sure I click go live in Instagram to make sure we get live on Instagram, which is something new that we're doing. We're also doing that for book launch videos and stuff like that. So watch this space for that. Of course, if you're familiar with Instagram Live, um, you can't watch live streams later, um, but these are all saved and we publish them on social media, particularly on YouTube, where they are saved. And part of the idea is to be able to watch them later. So regardless of how many people actually show up, randomly for some live stream that I'm doing, there is going to be a kind of a useful video asset available later for all time for self-published authors and Leanpub authors to read and watch and stuff like that. So as you can see on the screen here, every one of these Leanpub live streams, tips of the day videos, has an accompanying blog post that you can find on our blog at leanpub.com/blog. You can, of course, the blog posts are useful for all kinds of helpful links to articles in our help center and things like that. If you prefer reading to watching me talk and stuff like that, it's useful too. And yeah, and so the topic we're going to be talking. Oh, and of course, if you want to see us on a channel that we're not currently on, please to shout out to us on whatever channel you saw this on, or email the team at hello@leanpub.com and ask for us to be on new social media channel that we're not currently on or you're not seeing us on. If there's any topic that you'd like us to cover, you can reach out to me. I'm Len Epp on X and various other places. Pretty easy to find. I'm also len@leanpub.com if you want to email me directly with a request for something for us to cover in one of these live streams. Today, and yeah, of course, please like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff if you're interested in learning more about self-publishing, and in particular, self-publishing from the Leanpub perspective. So today I'm going to be talking about, a topic that everyone's been talking about for a long time now, AI. The old philosophy of mind student in me always finds it funny to talk about AI, so straightforwardly. It's the term with that's been long in use and has a long meaning, and people mean various things when they talk about AI. I'm going to be using it in the very ordinary, everyday sense that we use AI now, to refer to basically kind of tools that we interact with on our, phones and computers, where we can chat with them and ask them for answers, or to do things for us, or to analyze things for us, or to produce things for us. And I'm saying they, obviously, because that's one of the ways that we think about AIs is as some kind of individual, or agent, another term if you're familiar with philosophy that has long history and a lot going on there. But anyway, um, uh, yeah. When I say AI, I'm talking about what we mean by AI stuff, ChatGPT, Claude, stuff like that, that we use to analyze and build things. Um, and yeah, and so what I'm going to be talking about today is a very important topic if you're a self-published author, which is how you can use AI in your book marketing. So, what's book marketing? Book marketing is anything you do to try and sell your book. Um, it can be, talking to someone literally on the street. That's book marketing. If they, hi, I'm Len Epp. Oh, what are you doing here? Oh, well, I'm at a, kind of, farmer's market, and I've written this book and I've printed off a bunch of copies. Would you like to buy one? If you want the ebook, it's a little bit cheaper. You can buy it online somewhere, and I'll make more money because I get more royalties from that. That's book marketing. Book marketing in the old days was, going to bookstores for book launches. You might be arranging that yourself. You might have, a publishing company that would arrange that for you. Famously, it was one of those things where, like, one person might show up, 100 people might show up. You never know. It could be at, local cultural centers of some kind, things like that. The local, historical society or something like that might be interested in having you do book marketing or do a book launch. Book marketing in the also in, I'm thinking of, Dickens used to go on tours. Mark Twain used to go on tours. They were hugely successful. They'd have huge audiences and they'd read an excerpt from their book. That was book marketing. Obviously that's evolved over time. One very important place that people did book marketing was on book review sections in newspapers. One of my old sort of only half jokes is, if you ever wondered why a certain newspaper never wrote a negative or published a negative article about a certain author, it could be because that author's publisher bought a lot of ads in that book review section over time. Yeah, they were motivated not to publish negative reviews of that author. If you ever wondered why, it's sort of like the views of particular authors as being just these grand geniuses who've never made a mistake or something like that. That goes into that discourse as well. But book marketing is all around us, right? So, for example, one thing I was sort of naive enough to have to be told was that one of the reasons some of those books on the bookshelf are so fat, particularly the ones with the very famous authors on them, is because the publisher has paid for that book to be that fat, maybe with bigger margins or bigger font, to crowd out other books on the bookshelf. Believe it or not. So that's book marketing. It's a kind of rough and tumble world, and I bring all that up to say that AI and computer technology and data and stuff like that has long been used by book publishing companies in all kinds of ways. There's absolutely nothing new about book publishing companies using big data and machine learning and AI and stuff like that to do book marketing. That's because they're competitive companies. Some of them are mostly in it for the profit for their shareholders or their owners. Some of them are in it for profit to make enough to get by. If you're a small book publisher, you might not be trying to get rich, but you've got to be able to pay to keep the lights on and pay yourself and pay your employees, and hopefully pay everybody well, and pay authors to come and give talks and stuff like that. So you do need to generating money is an important part of any book business, and the self-publishing is a business as well. And so learning about marketing is very important. And one of the points of the talk I'm giving today, or my live stream today, is that what AI has done is it has leveled the field. It's not new in a sense in book marketing. What it's done is it's made it available to you to use as a self-published author. And that is an amazing, amazing thing. What are some of the various things you can use AI for? The first thing that's going to occur to a lot of self-published authors is, oh, I can get it to make my book cover. Sure, you can. You might, just as a word of warning from someone who sees a lot of these, most AI generated book covers look like AI generated book covers. That might not deter some people from buying a copy, but there will be a lot of people who will be like, oh, that just looks like AI slop. So you can use AI. I bring that up as a kind of cautionary thing. When you're using AI, you want to be careful how you use it in general. But there's one thing that you can use it for, which is very important, which isn't kind of public facing in any direct way, which is brainstorming and devising your book marketing strategy. Your strategy will be everything from like, it might, if you were like a book publishing company, it would be like, what should I be writing my next book about? In that world, it might be like, vampire romance is the big thing. Romantasy is the big thing. You should be, investing your time and money and marketing in the new latest trend. If you're a self-published author, that might be exactly what you're into. What's the latest trend? I want to do this to kind of like, make my 6K a year side hustle, or 6-digit a year kind of like side hustle kind of, business. You might be, what you want to do for a career and things like that. It might be that you want to build yourself up to a certain point. You've got enough sales and followers that a book publishing company is going to take you on. It might be that you're writing a book in order to just sort of like improve your career, right? If you're moving from one company to another, and in between that move, you've got a book out. That might actually sort of get you a step up at the new company that you're going to work for. If you're a consultant, if you've got a consulting company, having books out there is obviously a really important thing. If your goal is to become a big executive someday, that having books out can actually really help with your profile and things like that, which is why one of the reasons the profession of ghostwriting exists. But in all of this is book marketing strategy. So, when should I aim to, for example, publish the first version of my book? If you're publishing on LeanPub, it could be like, you could describe your book project and say like, should I publish it after 1 chapter, after two chapters, after 3 chapters? When I'm publishing a new version of my book, should it be 3 chapters at a time, 1 chapter at a time? There are any number of questions to ask, and you can ask them all in like, ChatGPT or whatever AI tool you're using. One of the great things about using AI to devise a book marketing strategy is no one else is watching, no one's grading you. You can start over if you go down a path that doesn't take you somewhere. You can obviously use your own judgment. That doesn't seem to really make any sense. But if you know that what the AI said about some sort of aspect of book marketing didn't make any sense, now it turns out you've actually already learned probably quite a bit about book marketing strategy, and you can say, no, no, that's not the right path to go down. Let's go down here. Um, there's all kinds of things that you can do about strategy, which is timing of like the title of your book, if what exactly your book should be about. Um, uh, where you should focus your efforts. For example, you might learn from an AI tool that like a particular topic, if you're writing a nonprofit book or not nonprofit, a non fiction book, a particular topic might be very popular in one country or one region of the world as opposed to another. You can learn things about like, should I have print? Should I have just an ebook? Where should I publish if I do get into print, like it's going to be print on demand, should I use KDP? Should I use Ingram Spark? You can learn, and like, you might not even know that those two things exist until you start going, well, how do I eventually get my book into print? Should I do that? And then, as I say a little bit further down in this article, the blog post accompanying this live stream, you can actually, I'm going to skip over the marketing content thing for a second. You can use AI tools to develop your pricing strategy. Pricing strategy is incredibly difficult. There's no right answer. That's because there's generally no right answer. The main thing is to sort of like work with an AI tool to talk to it about like what your goals are. Is your goal to make as much money as you can? Well, that's going to affect your pricing strategy. Is your goal to reach as many readers as you can? That's going to affect your pricing strategy. Is your goal, if you're publishing your book in progress on LeanPub, and I use this to sort of indicate increasing content in your book, let's say you're going to publish 10 chapters. That's your plan. If you're going to publish, that means you're going to publish 10 versions. Version 1 is that when you publish your first chapter, so the book has 1 chapter in it. Version 2 is when you publish your second version, and book will have 2. That version will have 2 chapters in it, etc. Should you be increasing your minimum and suggested prices along the way? Actually, that is what we suggest that most people do, because it rewards early readers of your book who trust you. And see value in your book, even though you've only written 1 or 2 chapters. So using it to develop your pricing strategy is a really great idea. We had an author on LeanPub and on the podcast called Romano Roth, who actually has a section in his book, The Cybernetic Enterprise, where he talks at the end, I think, where he talks about how he used AI tools to kind of come up with tables and charts and stuff like that for his book pricing strategy. That's a really great idea. The section I skipped over in the blog post is creating marketing content. Like the idea that I'm going to use AI to make my book cover image. Again, probably the first thing when you thought about like, how can I use AI for book marketing? Your first thought was creating content, and that is important. You can use, for example, you can use AI to sort of decide what channels should I be using. Should I be using LinkedIn? Should I be using Instagram? Should I be using TikTok? Should I be using all 3? And then you might learn that actually, like, you might want to have a slightly different focus or tone in the way you do things on these 3 different channels. So on Instagram, it might be one thing. It might be a little bit more kind of high value. On LinkedIn, it might be more professional. On TikTok, it might be more casual and fun. So you can use an AI tool to kind of generate. Like you might have, if you've used ChatGPT, you can see that you've got, just using that as an example, because it's one of the most familiar ones, you can have various, kind of chats along the side, and there can be like, generate this week's Instagram posts. I want to do, and you've used AI to learn the deeper thing, like, you should do 1 Instagram post a day, every day, 7 days a week. So every Saturday, morning, you might sit down with your coffee and go like, I want to devise my 7 Instagram posts for the week. And the AI will make some. You can have a chat that you've built in the past that can use to kind of like make your suggestions. And one thing I highly suggest is curate. Curation is very, very important when you're using AI to generate content. People will typically not like it if it just looks like this is just some robot, and there's no connection to you. And so, and by the way, there will be more value and entertainment for you as well in making it your own. So using AI as a kind of starting step for marketing content, but you definitely want to curate it. But can you imagine, like, you sort of sit down and in like maybe, half an hour, you've got your 7 Instagram posts for the week. uh, with an accompanying image that might be kind of stills from videos that you've done, or just your maybe just your book cover, or pictures of pages of your book or something like that, and or like a kind of like picture of the first page of each chapter, and you're going to do a post about each chapter that week or something like that. And same for TikTok. That'll be, you might want to you might suggest you want to do a 30-second video on this, a 30-second video on that, and you sit down and you do your session. It sounds like a lot of work, but bookmark. This isn't, by the way, AI. Using AI isn't going to take work. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be doing work to be marketing your book. It just means you're going to be much more powerful and much more effective potentially in doing it, and much more productive. That's where the real key lies in using AI tools for book marketing. So the last thing I'll talk about here today is just get started. If getting into book marketing, and that sounds like daunting and big enough. I've got to be like sort of creating Instagram posts and TikTok and LinkedIn and X and whatever. Sounds like a lot. One thing we always recommend for self-published authors is the most important thing is to just get started. Get an AI tool like ChatGPT or whatever, and just start using it. Sit down and go look. Like, for example, if you've written a book and you've already self-published a book and it just hasn't been selling very well, you're already like 90% of the way there to sort of making your book profitable. You've written it and self-published it. The next question is, well, what can I do to get attention for it? And what I would recommend is just get an AI chat kind of assistant, sit down and start talking to it and say, hi, I'm a self-published author. I've written and published a book with this title. Here's a little bit about me. Here's a little bit about my book. Here's the title. Here's where I've self-published it. My sales haven't been going very well. What should I do? And you won't really understand what the answers is giving you are good or bad or not, and at the beginning. But after an hour of sipping coffee or having a beer and kind of interacting with it, you're going to be so far ahead. And again, remember the whole, if for anyone who came in late, the whole point of this lean publishing tip of the day about using AI in your book marketing is only partially about using it to create posts and stuff like that. It's mostly to understand that now you've got the power that the big companies had before. You now have it, some subset of it available to yourself as a self-published author in your book marketing efforts. It's a really exciting thing. It's way deeper than the advantage that you have now is way deeper than just being able to make little posts and stuff like that. Although that is very important for your productivity and your reach. You can market your book in any language you want now. You can use AI if it's what people in the industry call prescriptive nonfiction book. You can probably get a good enough translation into any language you want in the world using AI tools right now. In particular, Leanpub's Translate AI service. And so that but it's so that all that kind of at the level of tactics, so I can translate it into different languages and stuff like that. That's great. The book marketing strategy level is should I be in this language or that language? If I'm going to only go into one language, which one should it be? Should it be German? Should it be French? Should it be Japanese? So you now have these tools available to you to learn about book marketing and to devise a book marketing strategy that you should do. And you can tell it what your schedule is. You can tell it what your full-time job is if you have one. You can tell it that you're unemployed right now and you just want to focus 100% on your book. All of this will go into devising your book marketing strategy, and AI tools are a great way to do that. So let me just stop sharing now. So thanks everyone. If you were one of the people who kind of jumped on live, if you came in late, you can find the accompanying blog post for this lean publishing tip of the day on using AI in your book marketing on our blog at leanpub.com/blog. It'll also be up on our lean publishing tip of the day playlist on YouTube. If you like this kind of thing and if you want to learn more, please like and subscribe wherever you found this. In particular, we encourage people to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're a self-published author and you're on Leanpub, just note that every subscription helps helps you get discovered and helps other Leanpub authors get discovered. And if you love reading and you love supporting an author, vibrant author community from people all around the world writing on all kinds of things, liking and subscribing really helps. So yeah, so you can find this on our blog. You can find it on YouTube. And thanks very much, everyone, for watching this live stream today.